If you're a golfer, you probably have a few of Ireland's top-rated golf courses on your radar. Today we're sharing some of the lesser-known courses that you might want to consider adding to your golf itinerary. Hi, thanks so much for joining me again here on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Ireland is known for great golf courses and world-class whiskey, but the two rarely combine until now. Before I jump into this, though, I want to give you just a quick reminder. If you happen to reach out to somebody that you heard on the podcast, be sure to let them know. This helps me to get more great guests on the show and share more terrific Ireland attractions and tips. So go ahead and be a name dropper. Just say, I heard about you on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Today, I am chatting with David Hayes, the owner of Dunes and Drams, an Irish tour company that blends two of Ireland's greatest passions, golf and fine whiskey. David curates experiences that go beyond the usual fairways, introducing travelers to courses and distilleries that are every bit as memorable as the famous names. So, David, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Delighted to be joining you as well today, Jody.
Ireland is one of those dream destinations for golfers. They know the iconic courses like Ballybunion and Lahinch, Royal County Down, and Portmarnock. But beyond those, there are dozens of lesser-known courses that have incredible play, amazing scenery, and that great local welcome. But they come without those crowds or premium price tags. And I'm really excited to kind of delve into those with you today and give people a little more insight and option to their Ireland golf vacation.
Absolutely, Jody. We're known far and wide as a golfing destination. And a lot of, I suppose, traditionally, like a lot of Americans and North Americans would visit Ireland and play those bucket list courses. Now, they're world known, as you said. They're as good as you're going to find anywhere across the world. But we have so many other great options as well. And in terms of selecting kind of which courses to play, do you play the marquee courses? Do you play the lesser known courses? I genuinely believe like it's all about balance. It's about maybe playing one or two of the marquee courses, which you'll have to kind of pay a premium price tag for and plan in advance. But it's about going off the beaten track as well, playing some of the lesser known courses that are located in just as stunning locations, but are off the radar. And those courses, Jody, you're going to get a better chance of meeting the locals, maybe even playing with the locals, chatting with them in the bar after. The same person that took your green fee when you came into the club could be pouring you a pint in the clubhouse after, that kind of feel. As I said, it's all about balance. Definitely that there's a lot to be saying for play the one or two marquee courses, but to blend that 100% with a few of the hidden gems as well around the country.
Are those marquee courses, are they worth the booking headaches and the price? Because I know that some of them, unless you know somebody, you're not getting in. So somebody has to know somebody for you to book there. And then others, you can't book until the people who are members have booked, and the booking windows are, I don't know, some are really long, some don't give you that much time. There's a lot of hoops, I guess, to jump through with those marquee courses. So are they worth getting onto those courses? Or would you say that if the names don't matter to you, would you be better off saying, you know what, that'd be great, but it's a lot of hassle and there are other courses?
Again, great question. Like, it comes down to personal preference. I think at a high level, I think if you're coming on a trip to Ireland, it might be a bucket list trip. I think it is worth making the extra effort to play one or two of those courses, but not to have your 7-10 day itinerary revolved around them, because it's going to add to the overall cost. It's going to result in, I suppose, a lot of kind of logistical kind of work day one to get on all the golf courses and to figure out when the booking window opens for a particular course, but a different course, it might be 6 weeks later, and you have to remind yourself about that. And with the lesser known courses, which we'd be kind of focusing our conversation on today, you could literally be in Ireland on a Monday morning and say, God, I'd love to play X course, Bantry Bay golf course on a Wednesday, and there'll be no issue. With the more higher profile courses, you lock them in 12, 18 months in advance, and you might need to even prepay for them at that point. But the lesser known courses give you that bit much more flexibility when it comes to deciding on the go. If you want to go out for 18 holes or if you want to play 9 holes, it just gives a better option that way.
Great advice. So you mentioned Bantry Bay, and that's an area that a lot of people probably aren't really even familiar with down in West Cork. Beautiful area. One of my absolute favorites. I think it's a terrific option instead of Dingle myself. I think it has that charm, the charm that Dingle had before it became super popular. I think you find in Bantry. So I think that that's a terrific example of one of those lesser known courses in such a stunning area. So you mentioned that on a lesser known course, you're going to have more of the local feel, maybe more of an option to play with the locals and sit down for them afterwards and things like that. Are there any other things that kind of make those lesser known courses maybe a little more special, a little more personal that people might want to keep in mind?
I think always comes back to the people. Like when you come to Ireland, you want to, the golf is going to be great. The different tours or excursions you might do will be great, but it comes back to the people. And that'll be the one overarching message that I'd like to kind of convey today, that like if you play the marquee courses, and like a lot of our clients play those courses, but 75, 80% of the people playing on a given day will be from North America. It kind of feels like you're back home in the States or you're back home in Canada. And that's the main message that I'd like to get across in terms of playing a few of those courses. You're getting a fuller Irish experience, I suppose. You're seeing how the golf club, as opposed to maybe a big golf club with a big clubhouse and a big kind of corporate entity behind it, you're seeing how a smaller golf club might fit into a community. There might be 2 or 3 family members working in the golf club. You'll see kind of the men's society out on a Monday morning, and they're there every Monday morning, and they might finish their round and come in for a cup of tea and a scone. So you kind of see the other side of golf in Ireland, as opposed to the golf tourism side. You see how golf plays a very important role community wise in Ireland, and ties back to that people element, which is ultimately what people want to experience. I feel here that they want to see what the locals are doing. They want to see what the locals are chatting about. They want to chat with the locals. So I think that's the main benefit, or the main really enriching experience playing in those kind of courses.
I think that for people looking for that authentic, it's a word I hear a lot. I want authentic Ireland. And for people who are not just golfing, because I know that I have people who contact me and they're like, we're just golfing. We just want to go golf, 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 golf. But for people who are touring with a little bit of golfing thrown in, getting that authentic experience that so many want, you're definitely going to get that more at a smaller course than at those big, well-known ones, it sounds like.
Absolutely. The genesis are where I first saw that, and completely to your point, where people are going from A to B and playing every golf course kind of in between, was I caddied in one of the bigger golf courses, which is a fantastic golf course, the old head of Kinsale, just outside Kinsale in County Cork. And I caddied there for 4 or 5 seasons kind of during college. But what I did see, and I was seeing kind of hundreds of tourists coming in and talking to them about their itineraries and how they were getting on. And they really were. They were going from one golf course to the next. They weren't really kind of immersing themselves in the locality. They were going at a fairly quick pace. And for some groups, I saw them at the end of their trip, where it might have been their last or second last day, and they were looking tired, So the approach that we try to take is to kind of just slow it down a bit. Golf might be a core part in an itinerary, but like it's about slowing down and just kind of getting a real appreciation for the places you're visiting as well.
I think that that's something that my listeners hear a lot is slow it down, slow it down. I feel like almost everybody just mentions that. The people that they happen to meet are rushing through. And for some people, it's like, I want to go, I want to see it all. This is my only chance. And they feel like it has to be rushed. And I kind of counter that with, you can have so many experiences in one small area. You don't have to completely circuit the country, but that takes us off onto another complete topic. And I definitely don't want to do that. But are there any regions that you think, kind of going back to that slow it down, spend more time in an area, are there any regions where you think the kind of undiscovered golf scene really shines? Are there any places that you would say, you know what, if you want to slow it down, but you still want great golf, go to this area of Ireland?
It's a great question. The southwest of Ireland, where I'm based, is pretty saturated when it comes to golf in terms of the big courses anyway. You know, like it can't get much busier just because of the scarcity of tee times. Now, obviously, there's flexibility there if you decide to play a few of the smaller courses that we'd be kind of talking about today. But one region that I suppose it's a bit more off the radar, it's getting more popular, but it would definitely lend itself to kind of a slowed down, kind of laid back, wild, rugged kind of area is the north and the northwest. So it's kind of the counties of kind of Donegal. It's far from me now in the southwest, but Donegal, Sligo, Mayo, they have some fantastic golf courses up there. And you're getting the links golf as well, which is the golf that you play by the sea. You can marry that with parklands courses up there as well. But what you get there is definitely a slower approach to things. It's more rugged and less travelled than the southwest. If you're coming to the southwest, realistically, you're staying in a dingle, as you mentioned. You're staying in a Killarney. It's very busy. It has kind of a city kind of feel to it. But if you were to go up north, you're going to be staying in smaller, more kind of traditional Irish towns and villages, and some of the golf courses really they feel like they're just out on their own, where they're kind of a bit more closer to towns and villages. In the rest of the country, it's rugged up there. So it's a region that has been getting a bit more attention over the last couple of years, is still much less of a draw to tourists than the southwest and other more popular regions in Ireland.
Do you want to drop a couple names, like maybe a links course, a parklands course, just a few up there that people might want to check out?
Absolutely. In Mayo, you have courses like Cairn and Enniscrone. They're links courses. Then further up the coast, you have Nairn and Portneuf, which is very close to a great distillery up there, a whiskey distillery called Ardara, which James and Moira O'Doherty are the founders up there, but they're creating something really special. So you could pair a golf and a whiskey experience there. You have Ballyliffin, even further north, which has hosted the Irish Open. That there's 2 golf courses up there. So they're kind of, and there's another course called Rasapenna, which have developed kind of there's 3 courses up there, one only recently finished. So they've kind of created a golf destination up there, you know. So it's definitely somewhere on the up. But if you're to get there in the next couple of years, I think you're still getting there. While it's kind of not at the crest of a wave, you're getting there when it's still a bit more unknown and off the radar.
And you mentioned that you're in the Southwest and that it's busy down there for golf. But as a golfer yourself, I'm sure you have a couple of favorite courses to play. Down in your area, where would you recommend?
Yeah, so we're very lucky. I'd be a member of a golf course just outside town in a place called Clonakilty. It's a small, kind of quirky 14-hole golf course. Lots of water, lots of trees, challenging enough. So if I'm to get out for an evening round, I'd head to Clonakilty Golf Club. But beyond that, I suppose I'd have 2 courses that I'd kind of really like to kind of mention as kind of cool, fantastic, kind of kept and maintained courses, but also in stunning locations. Bantry Bay, as we mentioned before, and it's in a great location in the gateway between Cork and Kerry. So if you're travelling from West Cork to Killarney or Kenmare, it's on the way. And the other course is the Old Head of Kinsale. Like I played there a couple of weeks ago with my family. We were lucky enough to get out there kind of at the end of the season. It really is. It's one of the courses where everybody that goes there for the first time just has to stand back and say, whoa. It's located kind of on the top of these really kind of steep cliffs. It's jutted out into a peninsula on its own. Every hole has a view of the sea and everything is just dramatic. If you were to play one kind of golf course, I think in the Southwest as a treat or as a one-off, that would be the one. And to be able to kind of spend it with family myself a couple of weeks ago, that just makes it extra special.
So you take people to golf courses and these smaller hidden golf courses. So what kind of reactions do you get between the two? Do the lesser known courses give people kind of a different perception of golf in Ireland? Do they comment on that? What do you hear?
The perception, it's not a different perception. I think the thing is visiting the lesser known courses kind of enriches the perception. Like, people know that we have the best golf courses in the world. We've over 20% of the links courses in the world just because of our coastline. But I'll go back to the point I made earlier. The perception that they have beforehand probably is the big marquee courses, golf tourism, the busy kind of timesheets, the fantastic views and scenery. But I think the perception when they play the smaller courses then is that community feel, realizing that golf is more than just a game here. It's a real integral part of a number of communities. And like, that is, just to be clear, like, that's the case for a few of the bigger courses as well. Like the likes of a Ballybunion or a Waterville, which would be like, they would be on the radar as some of the top courses around, but they would have great membership bases as well. And they'd have certain days that only members can play. But I think it's more probably visible when you actually play the smaller golf courses, which wouldn't have the higher green fees or the footfall. It's that community feel. It's kind of the lifeblood of certain towns and villages, which is really kind of enriching. And it just gives people a real feel for the places that they're visiting when they do see that firsthand.
So we've talked a lot about golf. So I want to kind of transition a little bit into Dunes and Drams because it's unique in the fact that you combine golf and whiskey, which are two things that I don't know that people really think about putting together in the way you have. So how did this idea to combine the two together come about, and what is it about your tours that would set your tours apart from a traditional golf vacation?
I suppose I mentioned it previously. What opened my eyes to golf tourism was my time below in the old Head of Kinsale and seeing that kind of standard tour, kind of playing all the golf courses, not really kind of spending time in the locality. So that's what kind of opened my eyes to what was happening kind of on the ground at the time. I suppose it planted the seeds of maybe doing something in that space while being a bit more unrushed, slowed down, slowed pace. And then I suppose at the same time, there was a bit of a whiskey kind of revival going on. You know, Irish whiskey is obviously kind of world known, but it took a bit of a hammering kind of at the start of the last century. But in the last 10, 15 years, it's seen a real revival again. So like, there's over kind of 50 distilleries in Ireland now that go from big businesses to small family run businesses, but they really, going back to the community kind of aspect of things again, they really are the lifeblood of a lot of communities as well, employing a lot of people. And kind of like, for example, the whiskey production, a whiskey business could grow barley from a farmer down the road. So it is that full circle element. So I suppose the golf and the whiskey then, they're both steeped in Irish kind of traditions, Irish culture. So that's where the idea kind of came to marry them together, and it kind of helped that there was a local distillery, a very successful local distillery being established at the time as well, Clonakilty Distillery, which has a great offering in the town and as a great employer. So I just wanted to differentiate ourselves that way, and I just thought with the links between golf and whiskey, it was a great way to combine an offering while also offering the slowed down, cultural, kind of immersive kind of aspect to people's journeys throughout Ireland.
So it takes you from being just a golf tour provider into giving that more full, more rich, I'm not exactly sure how to state it, but that rounded experience, right? You're taking these two amazing traditions of Ireland and merging them.
Exactly. And like, golf is part of the story, but it's not the full story. It's far from that. And a lot of our, I suppose, clients and a lot of our groups, there would be golfers and non-golfers. So like, just as important as the golf is the off-course experiences that we're able to provide. And like, while whiskey is a prevalent one, could be anything from like an oyster farm experience to a jaunting car ride around Killarney, to meet it. Like, a big kind of thing I try to focus on as well is meeting the people when I'm here and introducing them to my family. And my mother has a cafe in Clonakilty and bringing them to that cafe and viewing other kind of small businesses. So it's just as much, if not more, about the off-course experience. That the golf, once it's booked, will kind of take care of itself. It's the off-course experience and listening to people's kind of preferences and likes and dislikes that you're really able to kind of pick out a few select experiences that will really resonate with them.
So you would be able, let's say you have a group of 4 couples and the guys are golfing, the women aren't, maybe not golfing as much. So you would be able to say, get the guys to the golf course and then take the ladies out touring.
Exactly. And like a prime example of that is there is a great golf course in Doonbeg. It's a links golf course, one of the best known. That the Irish Open is being held there next year. So the women were with their partners, the husbands, playing golf on the first tee, wished them well on their way. And then after that, we brought them to a nearby whiskey business called JJ Corrie, where they had a cocktail making class. So they were introduced to kind of the art of whiskey bonding, the history of the business itself, then actually kind of took it in an immersive whiskey and gin cocktail class. So it's those kind of pairings that we try to promote in all our experiences.
Hey, just a quick favor. If you're liking the podcast, share this episode with a friend who's dreaming of Ireland too. Or leave a quick review at IrelandFamilyVacations.com/trust. It only takes a second and it really helps others find the show. Thanks so much. So if that sounds good to some of my listeners, how can they follow you for more information or get in touch to learn more about booking a trip?
Absolutely. We have our website. It's dunesanddrams.com. So we have, I suppose, a number of select itineraries there to give people inspiration, ideas in terms of the different kind of regions in Ireland and the different experiences within those regions, be it golf courses, whiskey distilleries, or other kind of tours and attractions. We're also on social media. So you can follow us at Dunes and Drams on Instagram and Facebook. And I genuinely mean this. I say this to, like, in the business that we're in, we're kind of asked to help out kind of lots of friends and friends of friends in terms of coming to Ireland. I'm always happy to just give recommendations, the same as yourself. Like, it's my home place. It's somewhere that I have a lot of love and affection towards. So I love when somebody reaches out to me and says, what do you think of this place, or what do you think of that place? So I'd be only happy to help anybody out on that front.
And all my listeners know that all they have to do is visit the show notes and they will find all the links, so they don't have to go searching for them. They are all readily available. Now, David, before I let you go, you've given us so much great information, but I always wrap up with 3 recommendations. So let's dig in a little specific to places that really showcase what Dunes and Drams is all about. So a great golf course, memorable distillery, and somewhere to unwind at the end of the day. So first off, what is one lesser known golf course that you think deserves more attention and why?
I'm going to be repeating myself here, Jody, but I have my perfect day made out in my own head, and the perfect golf club has to be Bantry Golf Club. I don't think it gets enough recognition. I think it's under the radar, off the beaten track, but I think to start a morning round in Bantry Bay Golf Club would be my pick.
So are we going to go to a distillery after that? Does that continue your day with a distillery right after that golf?
It absolutely does. And what we try to do with distillery tours is kind of go beyond the off-the-shelf tour. So a visit to Clonakilty Distillery will take you to the town of Clonakilty and the distillery itself, but we'll also go to the barley fields out by Gallyhead. So Gallyhead is a lighthouse on the edge of the Atlantic. It's where the Scully family that own Clonakilty Distillery grow their barley to make the whiskey. So you'll be sipping whiskey kind of on the edge of the cliff overlooking the lighthouse and the Atlantic, hearing stories about the generations of farmers that kind of went before them within the family. And where I'd finish off the day, I'm not sure if you've heard of the village, but it's a lovely seaside village between Rosscarbery and Clonakilty, is a place called Glandore. On a nice evening in the summer, sitting outside Hayes's bar or the Glandore Inn with a bowl of mussels or a pint of Murphy's, it doesn't get much better than that.
Which tells me that, add West Cork to your itinerary. I think that is such a wonderful area that is, people kind of hop over it. They go from Kinsale to Killarney, and usually they're taking the N22 to get there quickly. And a couple days along that jagged, that's the beginning or the end of the Wild Atlantic Way, however you kind of look at it. Just a stunning area.
I'm delighted to hear you say that as well, Jody, because that's something my time can say. That's the first-hand experience that I heard in that it was just overlooked as a region. People went to Kinsale, their next stop was Killarney, but there's a lot to be seen in between as well, you know. That's definitely a place that I'd hold close to my heart.
It's a beautiful area. And David, you gave us so many great tips, some terrific golf courses for people to check out, as well as more terrific ideas for their Ireland vacation. I can't thank you enough for joining me today, giving us this insight and sharing your knowledge. It's been terrific chatting with you.
Thanks a million, Jody. It was great to be here with you today.
If you're a golfer, I hope that this gave you a few more courses to add to your radar, as well as some extra tips for your trip. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can't leave a review on your podcast app, you can visit Ireland Family Vacations on Facebook and leave a review there, or go to Trustpilot at irelandfamilyvacations.com/trust and just say something nice. I would really appreciate it. If you have questions or comments about this episode, email me, Jody, Jody, at irelandfamilyvacations.com. And as always, thanks so much for listening. Until next time, slán go fóill.